here with the famous Don Wardell, and we're here in beautiful Rancho Mirage. And I understand this man sitting next to me is a legend, a Grammy award-winning celebrity. So tell me, how did you come across getting this phenomenal award? What did you do to win that? Did you stand on your head, or did
Well,
you?
I was an RCA Victor, and I was in New York. And Sinatra had recorded with the Victor label from 1940 through 42, and no one had ever done anything with it as the years have gone by. And there was this whole new interest in Sinatra, and three of us went down to the vaults and tried to find out what was down there, and we found 83 Sinatras and put them together on 6 CDs, and it won Best Historical Album.
Wow. Now, I always like to go back in people's lives, and I want to ask you a question. When you were less than 10 years old, what were your hobbies back then?
I was in the Boy Scouts, I was in the Cub Scouts, and just a little bit of gardening, not much, but and the movies.
And you were in the movies. Now, did your parents like listening to music?
Very much so. My mother in particular. My mother was the kind of go-getter in the family.
Okay, so here's where I'm going with this. Whenever I ask this question, you can tell a lot about a person when you go back to your childhood and say, what was important to you then? And you said gardening, Boy Scouts, and what's this? And the mother was into singing. So he was born and raised with music in his ears. So that when he got together and he sees this music of the Sinatra, it's just like the music that he heard when he was a youngster. And tell me, what else have you done in the radio world that you're especially proud of?
Well, I started quite young. At 11, I was paid my first check at 11, and I'm 83, and I've never left it, so
wow,
I've been around the block.
You've been around the block, but you're still going, you're still kicking.
Yes, I mean, suddenly I'm fashionable again because we're in Palm Springs, home of the mature person who want to hear their Sinatra and Edie Gourmet, and we're here to bring it to them.
Wow, I mean, I think that's beautiful that fashion does come back in style and has a way of coming and reoccurring and bringing it all back. Now, of those things that you were telling us about the Sinatra, what are some of your other highlights that you really remember from your career in the world of radio that, tomorrow when the grandkids come back and they look back on their life, they're going to say, I remember when my grandpa went ahead and told me about this. What would be the stories that you would want them to know?
Meeting Ella Fitzgerald was very important to me. I met her in Paris, and layers and layers and layers of the Fitzgerald story will reveal themselves years later. Mm-hmm. Here's a lady who was an orphan in Harlem, who entered a talent contest, who was put in with Chick Webb's band. And I can do this for 20 minutes. Extraordinary things happened to that lady. And I'm not comparing, but I can see her journey and I can see my journey.
It's really a beautiful story, because we often say there's a person who influences our life to the person that we want to be today. And in your life, we all have people that we mentor. Is there someone that you've shared this knowledge with that you're kind of giving this guidelines to and guidance down the road of things that they can do? Is there such a person?
I've done it for several people. People tend to enter my life and they blossom, not because of me, they blossom, I help, they move on. So it's happened several times that I've been able to tell stories of deprivation that move on to enhancement, if you will.
Wow, is there any one of those names that you might mention to us that's quite successful today?
Well, I'm very touched by a lot of people. One of them is Caterina Valente. She's a much older demographic, but she lives in Switzerland. She's an extraordinary recording artist. Another would be Dana, who was big in England. Another would be a group called Mr. or Jefferson Starship. We've all crossed our paths, and sometimes I've been helpful, but they've been helpful to me. I came here as a stranger to this country. It's a strange place to come to.
Where were you from originally?
Birmingham, England, the home of the of industry and, oh, thank you, home of industry.
Wow, wow. You know, I was on a radio show yesterday, and her name was Vera Lee, and she asked the question, it's why me? And she shared with me this beautiful philosophy about people. They say people come in our lives for a short period of time. We never know why they're there. We meet them, and they give into us a gift, and then they're gone. I mean, there was a story I commented last night on Facebook, and it breaks my heart, of the story of a young boy somebody came in the house and stabbed his mother, and he lost his life to save his mother because someone had robbed his house. And I thought about that story, and maybe that was the reason that kid was brought in the world. That was his purpose. And you know, I give that story because things happen for a strange reason. You know, I came all the way out from LA, and 4 hours away, and there's this gentleman who's recording the video here named Bill Swinkle, and he's just enamored by what he's saying, because each of us has a story to tell. Each of us has a word that we want to share with wisdom in the world. And I know that you suffer from something that's called Alzheimer's, and my mother too had Alzheimer's.
I suffer from it?
No, something like that, you know, something like some sort of thing that we forget things every once in a while. And my mother forgets things every once in a while. But you know what the beauty of it all is? The beauty of it all is we remember what's really important.
Oh yes, and it changes.
And the things that are important to us, we always hold on to. And I think that's the beauty of what it's all about. Because when I went up to you today and I said, my name is Rosalyn, I came from LA, and we got this video to record, you said, I'm gonna remember you, I'm not gonna forget you, and we're gonna make sure this gets done. And so you're a man of your word.
Thank you.
And I wanna say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You may not know me, but let me just tell you just a couple things of who I am. I'm an author. I wrote a book that's called Random Acts of Kindness Are Changing the World. And you're being here with me, and this gentleman recording it is witnessing that. I wrote another book that's called Dogs and Roses. I have the books inside. And it was written out of depression. And the things that made me happiest in life were dogs and roses.
Really?
Yes. Are you a dog lover?
I'm a cat lover.
Oh, well, cats are good too, because my future book, it's out there, is called Flowers, Food, and My Furry Friends.
Oh,
but
okay.
Beyond that, I'm a humanitarian.
Well, that's a lovely role to go through. Now, answer me something.
Sure.
Is the role of a humanitarian changing with the changes that are going on in the world?
Well, I think it really is, because I have a dear friend of mine, her name is Nameless, and sometimes she'll say to me, Rosalyn, how could you have gotten this humanitarian award and you don't do these things? And it's like, there's a part of me that believes it doesn't matter the money that we have in the bank, it's how we feel at the end of the day. And my personal philosophy is, if I impact just one person each day, then I have lived. And the world will come back to you.
That's why I love the radio too, because I don't know who I touch, but I try and give them my gift.
Oh.
And it comes, excuse me, touching you, but the gift comes from here somewhere. And if this is open, I can give the gift, and other days I can't do it. I haven't yet reached the point that I can throw the open switch. I try.
Right.
That's probably a good thing.
No.
So I'm not a fake, you know.
Well, no, you got to be your true, authentic self. And this person was going ahead and asking me the question of, how is it that we can be our true, authentic self? And you just open your heart and you open your mind, and you know, I know we've got places to go, and I am just so grateful for Bill Swindle for going ahead and recording this, and I'm so grateful for Don Wardell for taking the time to be with me, and his beautiful friend who's come with them. And we're going to say gratitude beyond words. Namaste, and thank you very much. My name is Rosalyn Kahn, and I thank you, Don Wardell. Thank you, Bill Swindle, and have a good evening and good night.
What a pleasure.